sets the agenda.
3 minutes past 12, you are listening to the Mid Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mari Makwanda. Change is an unavoidable constant in our work lives, in our lives in general. Sometimes it's within our control, but most often it's not. Everything around us changes, sometimes for the better and sometimes not. But we have to adapt to change and take advantage of that change. To discuss and give us tips on how to psychologically adapt to changes in the new year and not to um, let them overwhelm us is Shuhaida Adam, a social worker from Islamic Care Line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shuhaida, and shukran for joining us in the new year.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Islamic Care Line is just so happy to be back for this year and ready to discuss so much interesting topics for the rest of the year, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen. All right. So first of all, change. It is the new year, and we have been discussing things that people can do in the new year. Detoxing. We did that last week. We spoke about starting a business in the new year, how to save and how to get out of debt. Because you want people to get into the groove of this is a new year, and perhaps it could be a new beginning, but for some people, change can be quite difficult. So, why is it difficult for people to accept and adapt to change?
Okay, so let's look a little bit at what change entails. Change, something different. We're doing something that we haven't done before. We don't know what to expect from a lot of change, right? So, oftentimes, when we don't know what to expect, as humans, we tend to fear the unknown. It brings up a bit of uneasiness. And
Shuhaida, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off there. The network on your side is not very clear, so I think it's best we do this over the phone. All right, we're going to take Shuhaida over the phone. The line was not very great on her side with a lot of blurs and cutting here and there. So do stay with us. So we are talking to Shuhaida Adam from Islamic Care Line, and she's going to be giving us tips on how to psychologically adapt to change. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the changes that have happened thus far? I mean, it's day 19 of the first month of 2022, and the change starts with you. The change starts when you are ready to change. So if you are ready to change today, then the change will start. If you're ready to change tomorrow, then it will start. But it is all up to you. So we are waiting for Shuhaida Adam to join us on the line. You can share your comments, questions, queries, or suggestions with us on WhatsApp. The number is 061 766 0355. Alternatively, you can leave them in the comment section below. Do we have Shuhaida?
Mariam, is this clearer?
Yes, much better. Okay. You may continue from where we left off.
Okay, so I was just speaking a little bit about what change brings about. And oftentimes we fear the unknown. Change means something different, as well planned as we're trying to make it. Oftentimes the end outcome is something that we're not sure about, of course, because it is unfamiliar. So as humans, we seem to fear the unknown. And I don't want to say a default instinct, but humans, we tend to do that, right? So when we look at change, I just want us to understand also that change is actually it's connected to adaptability, okay? How we approach change, our views on change, and the feelings that it elicits in us, it connects to adaptability. Adaptability is a personality trait that we are actually, a lot of psychologists and human development theorists, they do believe we are born with it. So it's something that's within us as we grow, and our environment really helps to shape how we are able to adapt to change.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, as you said, it's the beginning of the year and people want to bring a lot of change in their lives. But how we cope with that change also very much related to our personality and also how we were brought up and how the environment and the external influences around. So it's a wonderful time that people are they're getting a lot of motivation. And what you've spoken about talks about a lot of practical change that people bring. So we
Mm-hmm.
were just in the beginning of the year, it's almost like a clean slate in place, it's a fresh start. But when we're actually implementing that change, we then are very much now in the reality of it. So it can elicit quite a bit of different feelings. Sometimes this change means we are letting go of what we used to know. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, somebody who's changing their work environment, children who are shifting schools, it's a change of what they used to know, and it brings about a sense of loss. So,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, children who are shifting to a new school, they don't get to see the same friends, their old teachers, and it's a genuine sense of loss. They may miss them, and that can impact on them how they adapt to this change. Even people who are shifting work environments, usually in the beginning of the year, people get for different opportunities and they start with a new work environment. They may miss their old colleagues, they may miss the old work routine, maybe the old travel, the ease of travel, or whatever it is. So people also, one thing that we can encourage people is to give themselves time to, I mean, use the word mourn is a lot, but to let it, to make peace and to accept the change that comes through and to um, let, let go of what they have left behind. So emotionally also, just put it to rest, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
change entails.
All right. And why is it important to accept and adapt to change?
Okay. So of course, the peace of mind. We want, we nobody wants to live a life where they're living with a sense of dread, with a sense of anxiety, with fear. Nobody really wants that. So when we are able to adapt to change, we can start shifting negative feelings towards our change. We can start
Mm-hmm.
shifting it and making it positive. So the uncertainty, the unhappiness that some people feel when change is pushed onto them, oftentimes children are forced into a situation of change. So children who are very used to a certain environment and suddenly their parents trying to move the family for better work opportunity, for example, or the family situation changed, even started, the parents' marriage may end or somebody may remarry now. So oftentimes children are not they're not a part of the decision to bring about this change. It gets put onto you. Other people, unfortunately, you may be retrenched. Your company may close down. You may lose your home. A lot of change is put onto us without us really wanting it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite easy to hold a lot of negative feelings and resentment towards this change that we're forced into. However, it's also we want to do that, and then we can have more positive feelings to embrace this change or to seek opportunities within this change. For example, if a child is now shifted over to an entirely new environment, what positives can they take from here? What new opportunities can they see? For example, they may not have had the opportunity to play in a park in their previous environment. And now there's some opportunity for them to play outside, go access new friends, etc. Right? So the ability to adapt to change means people can now they can go with the flow, so to say. So they can build positivity out of it. There's comfort, there's ease, and people will then be more motivated to give their all
Mm-hmm.
to make it work for them. So if, for example, they shifted to a new work environment, and if they are not happy there, they are most likely not going to perform well in the environment. Or their mental health is going to be impacted. This unhappiness will put a sense of dread and not wanting to work really well, which is then going to affect your work performance, which then places your job security at risk. So there can be quite a few negative outcomes there. So it's quite important also to have this adaptable, the trait of adaptability. Now, I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier that oftentimes people believe that we're born with it. Researchers believe we are born with it. However, if you're not necessarily, you don't have natural adaptability, you can bring it about. You can you can build that adaptability, especially with children. When you're parenting children, it's important to try and develop qualities of flexibility with them, acceptance of failure. So children need to be able to recognize that failure, things don't always work out as planned. However, if something doesn't work out as planned, what's the alternative? It's not, we talk to parents about modeling behavior with children. So showing them that if we experience a setback, it's not something that we are constantly going to feel extremely deeply about. We need to be able to come up with different alternatives, some solutions. What can we do to adapt to that? And then also model to them the emotions around dealing with setbacks. So things like, a simple example is if a family is planning an outing and when they get to the place is closed. So it's very easy to be in a very bad mood and to feel very unhappy and everybody just go home and sulk. However, as parents, we model to children that our plan A didn't work, so what can we do to make the most of the situation? And children will then take this trait into their own, sort of into their way of viewing the world. When they go into new environments, they are able to then look at plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever the case is. And as they grow, this trait becomes more ingrained in them. And then, of course, it becomes a very critical skill as an adult to be able to cope with change, to be able to cope with failure, with setbacks, and overcoming those challenges to build resilience. Because one thing, we know as adults, there are many, many setbacks that come your way. It's just not something you can prevent. So the ability to overcome that, the ability to be resilient around planning around setbacks, planning around loss, and change, the unwanted change, is the key trait for adults and, individually and within your relationships also. And of course, we are all about building positive relationships, which is then built towards, again, more healthy families in the future. And our cycle then continues. So, we talk about starting from childhood, but actually parenting starts from even before the child is born.
All right, Shuhaida, let's take a quick break and we'll continue, inshallah, with the process of change or the stages of change, inshallah.
The refugee camps in Syria or orphanages in Yemen, the eyes of the needy speak volumes with just one glare. We know what it's like to be at ground zero, where food essentials, clothing and blankets, fresh water portal trucks, and even on-site navigators. We use every cent to better their tomorrow. Become part of our journey to bring relief to all. Go to www.ashrafulaid.org or call us on 011 809 8181. Ashraful Aid, under the auspices of Maulana Suhail Wadi.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
What makes Randery Jewelers the optimum place for your memorable gift? Is it our range of exclusive, high-end, luxurious jewellery? Or is it our master craftsmanship of all your bespoke jewellery needs? We believe it's because at Randery Jewelers, we know just how to make your special moments last forever. Whether it's for a wedding, anniversary, or just a simple gift to show your love, trust Randery Jewelers to make it special. www.randeryjewelers.com. Make your moments last forever with Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Little bare feet on the icy wet ground, a shiver at his lips, mud on his clothes. When he is cold, the hunger is worse, the nights are longer, and the pain is more severe. What if this was your child? The Al-Imdad Foundation's Global Winter Appeal allows you to make a difference for refugees, IDPs, and struggling communities in 21 countries globally. Sponsor a winter pack today for just 600 Rand. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mara Mukwanda, and with me is social worker Shuhaida Adam from Islamic Care Line, giving us tips and advice on how to psychologically adapt to changes in the new year. Shuhaida, shukran for staying on the line. Now, change comes with a process, or there's stages to change. So what are they? What is this process of change?
Okay, so I've got two processes for our listeners today, right? One, I think, is let's do one of the change is just pushed onto you. You have no say in this change. It's not something that you actively went to look for. So let's take, for example, a work environment when there's sudden changes in the office management or whatever in the work environment, right? I've got a bit of a short model. 4 stages. Usually what happens is there's a bit of shock. Okay, so people's initial reaction to the change, they find it unbelievable, there's a bit of disbelief, or even there's denial. So if, for example, a certain new process is brought about, people may think that, you know what, this process is very temporary, it's not going to work out, our office will not carry on with this. The company is going to see how this process is going to fail, and it's just not, it's not feasible for us. So there's a sense of denial that the change is not going to really happen. The next stage, once the reality of this sets in and perhaps the process is not going away, people will then have a bit of a negative reaction. They may feel angry, they may be a bit afraid, they may actually actively resist these changes. So usually at this stage, you may find that people, they approach perhaps management or they group together and they start looking at what options can they have to resist this change, to cancel out this change. They may at this point also try and bring alternatives to the company because they don't like the initial change. Now here also personality traits come into play here. If people are a lot more, they have a very positive temperament, they have a bit more optimistic temperament, they may then skip the stage of anger. They may actually welcome this change, they may be willing to give it a chance. So just here, stage 2 can be one of anger, it can be negative or it can be a bit more positive. Some people can skip the stage also, and we can then go to stage 3, which is now acceptance. So oftentimes, when change is pushed onto people and people start focusing on what they've lost, they recognize now that perhaps your company is not budging, the change is here to stay. So then they start to accept this new change. They begin to explore a little bit around this change and what it means to them, what it may mean to their daily routine, what it may mean to their interactions with their colleagues, etc. Okay? The stage of acceptance, and then our final stage here is commitment. People, they embrace the change. They actually start to become a part of the change. They make more effort. They perhaps try to help simplify the new process that is put onto them, or whatever it is. Or if it's a new work environment, they may start becoming more sociable with new people. They may be more productive, and they start becoming more positive. And they embrace this change. So this year is just a short little model for people who have no say in the change. Then we can look a little bit at behavior change. So oftentimes this is what happens at the beginning of the year. People are looking to improve themselves, people are looking to bring physical change to their appearance or to their physical health, or even just the outlook for the year. So here's a bit of a longer model I've got. I'll just go through it quickly. Here, first stage is people who are stuck in the first stage. It's called the pre-contemplation stage. They actually don't really recognize a need to change. However, people may say something to them. They may be told that they need to change, but they become defensive around it. Okay, so usually it's called denial. They're not really aware of a need to change, but they're starting to recognize that behavior is not entirely positive. Okay, the next stage then is inflation. They suddenly become a bit more aware of the consequences of the behavior or a certain habit that they're using, and they're starting to think a bit about this problem. They recognize that perhaps they could change, but they don't really see maybe the need to do it now, or they may think that if I bring about change, it's not really going to make a difference. Okay, it can take a bit of a while for people to shift from stage 2 to the next stage, which is preparation stage. So here, people now in stage 3, they recognize there's a need for change. Okay, somewhere, somehow, maybe somebody has forced the need for change, or they decided they want to do this. So they're here at this stage, they make a commitment to bringing about change. They find some form of motivation to help them through this, and they do a bit of preparation now. For example, people want to want to be more physically active. They may start looking at exercise groups in the area or joining the gym. They may start looking at information around that. Okay, so this is just a preparation stage. Oftentimes people skip the stage. They just don't prepare for change, and they just want to action change. But it's a bit risky to just action change because you haven't done your groundwork on the type of change you want to bring about. Okay. Then the next stage, we're looking at the actual action stage where you require quite a bit of willpower. You are now implementing the action. Okay, whatever it is you've decided to bring about, you're making an effort towards the change. Mentally, you are psyching yourself up. You are holding on to this commitment to yourself. You're trying to maybe deal with little setbacks that come your way. Usually, little short-term rewards actually motivate you to carry on and sustain this change. Okay. At this stage, also in the action stage in the beginning, you're also a lot more open to receiving help, getting advice from others, and other people's support also makes a very big difference for you. After action stage, you're now in the maintenance stage. So you've already done the groundwork. You actually had experienced what this change means. So it's now familiar for you. It's not so much change anymore. It's now becoming familiar. You then are now in the maintenance stage. So setbacks that come your way, it doesn't knock you down. You are able to perhaps avoid temptation to return to this bad habit. You are changing things that need to be changed. So you realize what may work for you, what didn't work for you. You're not quitting, but you are being a lot more adaptable. You're also looking at now a lot more rewards. You're finding this change is personally meaningful. It's actually worth your while to make the effort. And then, unfortunately, the last stage, so it's called relapse. However, you don't have to relapse in this stage. At this stage here, there's a great opportunity for you to relapse. A lot of challenges. You may become too fit in this change and becoming a bit too confident in the change, which can open you to relapse. However, if you have a plan for this stage, you then actually don't have to relapse. So the challenge is there, but you don't have to fall for it. If you plan very well, if you have strong coping strategies and if you have strong support, you then can actually navigate this relapse stage very easily.
All right. Change is inevitable, and we all run away from change because we're not sure what the new changes could be, whether it could be good for us or whether it could be bad for us. There's so much uncertainty of the outcome of the change. So quickly going forward, what is your advice?
Okay, so look, one thing also that a lot of us struggle to trust. for various reasons, a lot of our human interactions has led us to be quite distrustful. One thing, sense of trust doesn't only have to be with people, but also in something greater, and also in our Creator. So people who hold faith, people need to recognize that part of change also includes trust in your Creator, trust in a greater plan. And that's something that also has to be built, because like I said, we've become very distrustful, and we need to find meaning to change also. And that can help us then navigate the setbacks that change will bring. And we want to shift, of course, from the negative to the positive. It requires quite a bit of consciousness. So being very aware of your feelings. And this is something that parents, I would also like to encourage parents to help children express their feelings through change. Because oftentimes children are not aware that parents are struggling themselves through change. So children then feel that they can't say anything, or they can't express how unhappy they are or how much they're struggling. So a key thing to help us through change is the support that we have. So try to find some form of support. It can be a friend, it can be even your HR in work, it can be the new teacher that your child is now in the school. And as a parent, it's definitely you to help your child adapt to change. And it doesn't only have to be your young child, it can also be your adolescent, or even your new, your matriculant child, who is now shifting from school to university, or the world of work, or even unfortunately the world of unemployment. So try to be each other's biggest support through change, and inshallah you will then help each other overcome whatever this change entails.
Amen. And just speaking on the change with your children, your child needs your presence and not your presence, because they will remember who was there with them and who supported them, and they can easily outgrow the gifts and the toys, etc., etc. But the time spent with them, the support that they received, that will be with them forever. Shuhaida, shukran so much for your time, for joining me, and for helping us adapt to the changes in the new year.
Shukran for giving us the opportunity to engage with your listeners once again, and inshallah we'll carry on with more self-development topics through the year.
All right, inshallah. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
That was Islamic Care Line's social worker, Shuhaida Adam, taking us through changes. How can we adapt to the changes of the new year and not allow the changes to overwhelm us? It is 12:31. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media. Please stay with us. We will